This is it, the worst of it. You come home to find this, a shell, nothing left to salvage. In the end, both chambers passed the legislation, but the governor said no with the veto. He agreed texting while driving is reckless and irresponsible, but said a ban would be a government effort to micromanage the behavior of adults. The city says you can't sell alcohol within 300 feet of a school. Well, right now I'm about 300 feet away from that school, and you can see the Wheatsville Co-op is a lot closer than me. 3 years, and this is what it took to cut that computer forensics backlog. $287,000, 2 new staff members, and 6 new workstations. Last session, lawmakers drew redistricting maps that minorities now say are discriminatory, so a court drew these temporary maps for the last election. Now Governor Perry wants the legislature to adopt this map as permanent.
A picture, it's a story.
A portrait studio was a fast way for Billy Birch and his wife Stephanie
Oh my goodness.
to meet the faces of a community they've called home less than a year. Their shop, along with most others downtown, showed signs of what happened in West last week.
It was probably about a foot out.
An explosion at the fertilizer plant a mile away.
And had to take and reach up and grab the desk and move it back up against the wall.
While many residents ran away from the scene, the couple ran to it.
And then the nursing home, people coming out bleeding, and I still had no idea what had happened.
Elderly patients buried under the rubble just a block away from the blast.
You had wires hanging down. There were light fixtures, some that were still hanging. There was no ceiling. You could hear water leaking in already. You could hear the screams from patients trying to get out.
It wasn't something you think about at the time. You just do what you have to do.
They rescued 16 people before emergency crews arrived.
And so for the people that have lost loved ones, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes right now. I would hate to think that my son was there when that happened, because he would have been one of the ones that might be unaccounted for or deceased. And that would have been one of the hardest things I've ever faced in my life, is to lose one of my children.
Pictures say something, tell a story. This one of the home they lost in a fire 2 years ago.
When you see that in a picture, it can describe every bit of their hurt, every bit of their pain, and every bit of their sorrow.
But in time, they say a picture can change for the better.
You just hope for the best at all times.
The couple now lives far enough away their current home was not hurt, and lucky for the people they saved, both are former military, which means their search and rescue training came in very handy. In West, Josh.Steven.Hinkle, KXAN News. We live in a world where it's rush, rush, rush. Drive faster, turn here, park now.
Like coming to the park?
Yeah, it doesn't move. It's stuck here.
For Tina Lowry and her 4-year-old Cohen,
Do you want to drive? You a good driver?
a little off-road relaxation might be the only solution
Where would you put your foot if you had to slam on the brakes? Because traffic's so bad.
to their problem with Texas traffic for now.
I know within the last 5 years, it's just gotten horrendous.
From 35 south to north, if you're headed from airport to Kyle, you're in traffic for what, an hour and a half?
They have this huge traffic problem and congestion. It just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird to me.
Considering the state's growing population and growing need for infrastructure. It's behind a new Senate proposal. The Texas Department of Transportation says it needs $4 billion a year to keep up. This plan would mean about $1 billion a year from the state's rainy day fund, if the governor adds it to the list of legislation for lawmakers to consider in this special session.
There's been some important movement in the transportation side. Is it enough? From my perspective, no, but again, I think it's a little bit premature.
But highways here do need help.
You need help with your shoe?
Someone or some money to swoop in and save them.
I hope that we can find some relief for them.
You're a road rager, huh?
For Lowry, relief will come knowing the roads are a little better when this little guy starts driving.
I know, that scares me. Let's not talk about it.
On the Lone Star side of the Louisiana state line,
If I break even, I'm happy.
this group of gals gathers in the Denny's parking lot on I-10.
stay a few hours and come home.
Honey, I'm home.
Ready to spend some of their retirement money.
We have a lady in the car that just loves, she'd rather gamble than eat.
They're among the hundreds from Houston who cram into cars,
And then we're going to eat and gamble and win.
board buses, and head on down the highway every day to Lake Charles, Louisiana, where casinos are close and legal. The town already has two, and with their success, another is on the way. A report by the Louisiana Gaming Control Board says most of the area's customers originate from the Houston area and would be hurt by legalized gambling in Texas.
We need it here in Louisiana, and you got to take our school supply money if you do it in Texas.
Here, casinos are part of the culture
Y'all like coming over here?
and one of the state's biggest moneymakers.
Bring in a lot of revenue, jobs, good for the economy.
It's all part of the $1.5 billion the Texas Gaming Association says Texas is losing each year by not having gambling. The state of Louisiana uses the money it earns for things like highway improvements, teacher salaries, even gambling addiction treatment. Money well spent on a hotline and treatment centers, as people here say they've seen plenty of problem gambling.
Very few of them, I think, have the resolve to stop when they should stop.
If you're stupid enough to waste all your money at the casino, that's your problem.
Another concern, some say casinos can bring crime.
We've responded, just the Lake Charles Police Department, to 10,000 calls since 2000. That's about 2 calls, maybe 2.5 calls per day.
And that's on these properties alone, crime that would not exist without the casinos.
Those calls can range from anywhere from littering to suicide or homicides.
But talk to the Lake Charles locals, and most say the benefits outweigh the bad. Something these Texans want to try, having casinos here.
I think people would go more often.
It would help us. We need it.